Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to the monthly webinar for June 2025. Okay, so like always, today's session will be recorded, so that recording will be available on the YouTube channel, BJL's YouTube channel, and of course, the link to the recording will be emailed to all attendees. So if you do drop out at any stage, you do have obviously access to that recording. So here with the questions, you can obviously enter in there in the Q&A panel. So I'll cover questions at the end, but we've also got several BGL team members who are happy to answer any questions. So I'll provide a quick BGL update. So it'll be a probably shorter one than normal, but we'll go through quite a few things. Daniel Tramontana, BGL CEO, was due to be joining us, but he's been held up. So we'll see if Daniel signs in or not. Otherwise, I can cover his stuff, and then we'll cover any questions at the end. So with today's session, we've just released one update, which is on the 22nd, and we've got an update coming out there, as you can see on screen, on the 12th of June. So let's go first of all into tax time. So for, oops, gone too fast. For SMSFs, we have released that now. So the 2025, obviously, tax return is available. The good news is there's no changes compared to 2024. So nothing really there needs to be changed. If you are processing any wind-up funds and you've created entries prior to the date there, 22nd of May, so if you do need to reverse entries and create entries again to ensure you're using the 2025 stationery. But obviously, just as a recap for anyone who, let's say maybe their first time or anything like that, obviously they're on a tax compliance screen, depending on which menu structure you're going to use. You will be able to see obviously anything in terms of the 25 return there. Once the ATO enables the 225 service, you will see that message there disappear and you will be able to lodge that through to the ATO. So that's obviously governed by the ATO now out of our control going through. Just a reminder there too, we do have the new lodgement screen which is available. So this will show a lot more stats and has a lot more filters than that we had, I guess, prior. So we are incorporating more data coming through. In the next few months, we are rolling out an update to this screen again, which will actually involve ATO stats. So if you click there, you'll say coming soon. What that'll allow, I should say, is all for the current connected tax agents. It will download all the returns for the entities that listed, download any outstanding returns, what the lodgement stats are, etc. That. So you will be able to get actually a complete picture for the actual entity, regardless whether those forms are lodged using BGL's products or not. And you will be able to also get updated agent stats depending on, I suppose, the time of year and what percentage has been lodged. So that'll be rolled out obviously there in the coming months. Going through the next one there is around Macquarie Cash Management. So for the Macquarie bank accounts which are utilizing the bank feed through the BGL data bank service, with those now, Macquarie's allowed BGL to be able to download the statements, which occurs in the background, and this occurs every 6 months, directly from Macquarie down directly there into BGL. So this will be limited to only the accounts which have been set up using BGL's bank data service. So there, if I go across to the feed management screen, if you have set it up using BGL's bank data service, you can see there, so on the far left-hand side, it is in Macquarie account, this will be allowed. If it's using a different account, that obviously won't be allowed by any means at all. So if it's using one of the other credentials, we've approached Macquarie about trying to get a time frame when they will allow advisor-based ESIs to the same service, and Macquarie haven't provided a time frame yet, but they said it is on their roadmap to be able to allow that at all. They're just sorting out really some terms and conditions changes to really structurally allow for that. So technically they do have the ability. So in this case, this example for the account down the bottom there, you can see one's been set up. And when the statement has come in, you can see the little attachment there. So to bring through an imported statement here, which is just really a sample one, some sample ones you can see there. So you can actually there's another one there. So that one there, so the Macquarie statement will actually come through quarterly. That's obviously automatically tagged. So the good thing about that, if we go across to the work papers, is that once you actually refresh the work papers, I can refresh in this case. once it's actually refreshed, it'll be automatically brought into the work papers and automatically attached to the bank account under the work papers automatically. So that's really saving time from obviously having to get an actual year-end either year-end statement there directly from the trustees, or actually have that extra obviously piece there for evidence there with the advisors. So you should see, I guess, with this one, as you can see, the statement has been brought through automatically and attached there to the correct account. As I said, that'll come every 6 months, so that'll operate there. So for June, I guess, sorry, July through to December, and obviously from the second part of the year in terms of January through there. So yeah, so obviously I see a couple of questions come in there. So one there from Lisa. No other banks at this point in time have given any indication if they're going to offer the same service. This was something obviously Macquarie had pushed and done obviously off their own back based on feedback. And the other question I can see coming through, yeah, if you do have your own ESI or using an advisor's ESI, it is on Macquarie's roadmap, but it's not available just yet. Okay, so jumping back there, so obviously all the pension factors out there as part of the year-end process have been updated for 2026. So you'll see there's rollout really across the board. So any of the dashboards that we have been updated, and any of obviously the reports such as the pension projection report, as you can see on screen, have been updated there automatically as well. The last one there that we've released is really a new AI system. So this was something that we showed prototypes of last year and went out into I guess a early release with certain clients last year, you know, showing them, allowing them access and getting feedback on this. So this is something we've actually released now in its early infancy. So with AI, with the, I guess the AI assistant there, it's not really designed to perform, you know, tasks that you would be doing within Simplifund 360. It's really designed to, at this point in time, to rapidly access data and answer questions you may have, or combine that with outside sources. So where this differs to, say, using a Gen AI bot outside of Simplifund 360 is all the data is contained here within BJL's environment. It's still got that security layer, so you can only ask questions about the funds you have access to. If, example, two users ask questions, one has access to documents, one doesn't. Only obviously the one with access to documents will have that information returned if it is contained, for example, within a document. So we will see that going forward. Just to explain, I guess, a little bit with BJL's AI journey first, you can see there on screen that we've been obviously operating in the AI space there since back in 2018. So we obviously had our smart matching, which was our first journey, which obviously allows, as you can see in the top left-hand corner, a deep learning model that goes out and actually obviously learns from all the data out there and actually predicts where the transaction should be coded to. So that's something that we've gone out there, and then obviously that extended out into other things now that we're actually using now to combine with OCR to read different documents, as we've seen over the last sort of 2 years, how we read bank statements, how we read information, and everything going forward. So that's again combining the two, and now this is our first venture into that of using Gen AI. So let's go through into Simplifund 360 and have a look. So all administrators, once you actually select the fund, all administrators and account owners will have access up the top here. So you can see up there in the toolbar, it is available there. For any other users, you will need to actually give them access to begin with. So if we go down into our user roles, let's go select maybe the employee one. Going down, you will actually go down and see there. So under the settings, the AI system bot there. So you can see here for the employee user role, that goes through and then tagged to going through. So then again, just to ensure that one there is enabled going through. So going back into, I guess, the screens. So that AI bot is available at the top as long as you have that enabled for your particular user role. So if you don't have enabled your lower user role, ask the administrator or account owner of your account to obviously allow that particular access there. So let's go through and have a look at a couple examples. So let's first of all jump into here. So when you first go in, you'll see that obviously the AI assistant goes. So a couple different things there is obviously in terms of screen display, you can drag and drop and make that, you know, as wide as, so almost full screen if you'd like. So you can actually control the size of it in terms of how it actually displays. And we actually try to give you a lot of information up front, so you're not having to, I suppose, learn as quickly and go through. But you can actually see it'll actually explain what it has access to. So, you know, as you can see on the top left-hand side, we've got various bots, and I'll explain that in just a second. But each bot will actually define what it has access to, which will progress over time and go through. We've also got, as you can see there in the link, a detailed help article, which actually goes through in a lot of detail about how to use it and provides a lot more detail than what I'll probably show on screen, goes through all the relevant bits and pieces and information there on the screen. So going through and I suppose having a look now at a few different examples. So what you'll see there on the left-hand side is various bots or assistants. So those bots or assistants really have a specific purpose or specific context. So what we've done for that bot is actually behind the scenes done a lot of actual training and a lot of actual instructions that have been input for that to give it the context. So let's have a look at the first one as we go through there. So this first one there is where we started with was ATO Content Bot. So it actually really it's very simple. You can ask questions where it can actually go search the ATO website. So think of it like probably just more like a glorified Google search, because you can actually get some, you know, updated information. But as you can see there on the screen, it's built, you know, it gives you that information. It's built for ATO queries, searches a website, but it's not going to access any data from Simple Fund 360 or Simple Invest 360 going through. So let's have a look. And what we actually provide for each of the bots is actually these predefined ones as well. So you can actually type anything you would like, but you can also go through and obviously use these predefined bots. So let's predefine, sorry, prompts, I should say. So for those prompts, let's go through and have a look at a couple of things here. So this one's asking for obviously changes to the SMSF contribution caps in 24 and 25. So go through and actually process that. So what I'll actually do, it actually provides it goes through and actually indexes the ATO website, actually goes through and searches for what it believes you're asking for. So obviously the more, like any of the Gen AI information, the more context you can give it, the more instructions you can give it, the better the answer will be. So as you can see, it's probably it's giving you here a very basic summary and actually and then obviously provided links there through to the ATO website. You can actually go through and go through and have a look at that one. Also with these, you can ask obviously any questions. So I'll ask something, let's say non-SMSF. So I'm going to type this one with my poor typing. Explain. Let's go through and see what else on this one. So again, providing a little bit more context, I guess, in terms of I want to explain to me, I don't want just the links. So that's, you know, very subtle change, but it can obviously differ that the instructions and how the AI interprets those instructions in, you know, accordingly. So the more actually prompts, and you'll see with my examples going forward, the more different prompts you can give it, the better it will be. Okay, so that's come up here. So you can see it's actually given a basic example going through, and then again, the relevant links. So let's have a look at something a bit more exciting. So I've got here the BJL Bolt. So this is our first version. As it says, you know, the end goal with this would be to access every single data point within Simple Fund 360 and Simple Invest 360, and you can ask any kind of question that you'd like. At the moment, we've just got a limited data set, but every single update that we release, we're looking to increase the ability, or I guess availability of data that this can access, and the level of, I guess, the level of questions, the level of capabilities that it has. So this is obviously just the version 1 and the very basic one that comes out. So let's go through and have a look again, just some of the prompts that it's gone through. It's saying, like, you know, show me fund details for the SMSF and generate a PDF summary for it. So let's let's go through and process that one. So it's just quite basic that it's going to grab obviously stuff like the name, ABN, address, all the details there. And the good thing is it will obviously give you, in a lot of cases, an explanation of what it's actually grabbing. So in here, it's actually giving you both standing details for the fund as well as actually contribution information. And then it's going through and generating a PDF, just like I've asked. So it's gone through and actually given a PDF. And that PDF, obviously quite basic. It's no different to what you see on screen, but just basic information going through. Let's go through and look at a slightly different example. So let's actually, I'm going to go across to, first of all, the contributions dashboard. So you can see for this fund, one member's over their concessional cap by 1,000. This member here has made a non-concessional, Edward's made a non-concessional contribution, and also made a large concessional cap contribution, but it's still below his cap because of the 5-year carry forward. So same thing, let's go back to our bot into here. So let's actually go through and say same thing. You can see the prompt there for the contributions. I'm just going to grab a slightly different one. So let's put into, I'll put in one here, which I'm going to copy and paste. So I'm asking here, if anyone can't read that, search the ATO website for the latest contribution caps and compare them to the fund's current contributions. I've then given again more instructions. I said provide a summary in a table, including recommendations. So you can see now compared to prior prompts that I'm actually giving a lot more instructions in this one, not just in interpreting. So you can actually define, and that's defining, and say in terms of the table, you can actually define that you want in a table or CSV file or a PDF, but you can also define what you want in the output. So saying this, I could say something like, include the member's email address in the output or the table, and it will do that and go through. So you can see here, because I've said search the ATO website, it's actually provided links through to the ATO website for this. It's provided a summary there. It's actually going through and actually then giving sort of recommendations that can actually go through. So, and then you can see what the actual AI is doing. It's actually then giving suggestions of what to ask next. So you can actually take one of those and go forward, or I could write something like write and even though I've made a spelling mistake, it should still interpret that. So you can see I've said write a letter to the trustees explaining this. And you can see there that obviously this is where your instructions will be more important, because obviously I just said write a letter. So you could say write it and export it as a Word doc, how you want the letter. You can define a character limits. There's a lot more you can place in there with that. But you can actually see it's now great. Just it's created a template here, which is actually just explaining, as I said, stuff on there. So that gives a good, I guess, template that you can then customize accordingly there for the actual fund there. So let's go through and look at a couple of others here. So let's go, I think there's one here, like show me the fund relationships and generate a relationship chart in a JPEG format. So obviously a particular image format there. So again, Taylor's instructions. So it's actually going through, it's actually provided relevant instructions with there. So it's actually now giving you, I guess, all the relevant information. And I could say now, and this is where, while that's actually running, I would say something like display this as a table and exclude mobiles, for example. So that can actually go through then and do the same thing. So that's that JPEG file. So it's actually created an image which is quite basic and looks like something probably a primary school kid has probably created, but it was quite basic and going through. So you can actually see now, based on the data we had above, it's actually created a table and it's actually excluded the mobile. So that's where you can actually play with the results going through accordingly. So let's see some others that we can do. So I can say some more advanced ones going through, and this might be sort of more planning in terms of strategy. So I could say something like this: based on the earnings, withdrawals, and contributions for the first 5 years, predict and graph what the members' balances will be in 20 years. So this is a good one because it will this will actually go through and actually go through and obviously grab the relevant information and bring it through. But this is a good thing where it actually says, okay, it's actually showing you now what it's actually working out with those predicted balances going there. So you've got something now like it's using the following assumption of 5%. So you could say, okay, no, you want that to be 6%. Well, compare 5% against 7% against 9%. You could give it the information like that, and again, it will actually predict and go through and graph things like that over time. So there's things they can actually use in terms of projections going there. This one here has just been released today, so you'll see this gradually rolled out. If you don't have access to this one today, you should see it rolled out very shortly. So I've got some advanced access. I won't go through and show a demo of this one because I think the data in this database is great. But a classic example of this one is very similar to what you do in Analytical Insights. So it's like you can see the prompts here. List all the entities that have crypto. List all the properties that have property. Show me all the SMSFs which hold shares in BHP. So you can actually go through and go through accordingly. So it actually will go through accordingly and actually solve that database. And this is a part where you can actually actually prompt the bot in what you'd want the export. So say for example, you just want the fund name and what the balance is. You want fund name, balance, and unit. You can actually tailor the actual export to get the data you want out what is as well. So let's have a look at another one. This one where I guess we did cross into, on this smart report screen. So depending which menu you're using on the left-hand side, that you'll see the actual smart report screen on either the obviously review screen or the report screen. So something we had started last year was on these, you can actually see obviously generated the balance sheet, operating statement, and cash flows, and we had the ability to run the AI analysis just based on this report itself. So this would just run in here, there. And using a similar sense, it would just go through and analyze just the balance sheet. So it didn't actually give any context accordingly. So we've actually done here, what we've done here in this new bot, it's doing a financial analysis, is grabbing all information, but I can actually go through and analyze everything up there. So I'll go through, let's do this one. So rather than just analyzing the current year, I've asked it now to go through and analyze the last 3 years. This fund, I don't think I've got a lot of data in it, so it's probably not the best example, but at least can give you an idea of the context within it. So again, you can actually go through and look at the actual information. Probably should have started with 1 year quarterly, but this will give you that information. Obviously, the more like anything in terms of analyzing data, the bigger the fund is when you're on a fund basis, the more transactions it has, the more history it has, the more investment it has, anything like that. Obviously, the longer the calculation may take, but obviously we're looking to improve this over time. And very similar in terms of your global investment bot, that the longer it has, the more data it has, the more fund you have, the more everything you have in terms of that basis, the longer it's going to go through and take. All that information there will obviously go through. This one is taking a little bit of time, but go through. There's a couple of questions, just having a look through. Does the BJL bot also do, I guess, process binding death nominations in the minutes? Not currently, because it doesn't have, I don't believe it has access to that standing data at the moment. But it definitely could be, definitely if you asked it to prepare a template for you, it definitely could do that. So there might be some missing information, but you can actually go through and do one accordingly with that. Yeah, and as you can see here, it's actually giving you a nice financial analysis based on the information there. So again, you can actually change the prompt to add and remove things, whatever you'd like, accordingly. But I guess, an example for this could be a nice discussion there at year end with the clients in terms of looking at what's actually changed during the year and actually pointing out where the large things are. And it's a great summary. So something could be, export to Word and then tailor yourself, give more instructions back to actually go through and export. So you can see like a prompt like that, again, write it as an email to the client if it's something you wanted to email out, or it's something doing face to face and going through. Question there from Carol that's relevant. We'd like a spreadsheet showing the member balances that are over 3 million. The bot can't do that at the moment, but we are planning to add that in. So at the moment for that one, what you're best doing, because it's obviously a common thing with the Division 296, is go up top there to the Analytical Insider or back to your home screen. Scroll down here. And where you can actually find it is here under TSB. So look at the TSB here and where you can tailor that. So say if you got obviously over 3 million, you can actually look at, the classical analysis shows those approaching 3 million over. So I could say anything from 2.7 million to unlimited, go show me the funds which apply. Obviously a fair bit here, and you can actually download that to Excel. So that's the best starting place at the moment. In that we will be adding that to the bots though. And what that allow for class example is you to ask that question into the bot and then define what the export will be. So you want, okay, member names, what their balance is, what their earnings are for the last week, etc. We are also, which is in my coming soon section there, we are releasing a bot which is actually tailored towards just purely Division 296 as well. So going through. So then going through. Cool. Having through. I think in terms of the bot, that's it for now. So as I said, go through, have a play around with it. Any feedback we'd like to hear back. Obviously, this is our first version going out, so we'd like to hear any feedback that you do have regarding that, and happy to answer any questions you have. As I said, the data can access is all available there, either the help documentation or on the bot interface itself. But it is that is available accordingly. Okay, so coming soon. So in our next update, there I was supposed to update the screenshot, but on our property dashboard, we are allowing invoices to be generated, basically tracked in terms of payment, and then matched against the structured cash payments. So it's really designed for investors with commercial properties that are self-managing the agency of those properties or the tenancy management. So classic example is a commercial property that's invested to a related party or not going through an agent. So we will allow that to go through. In our next update as well, which is this is coming out, is a 2025, obviously, trust tax return and company tax return for Simple Invest clients. So several of that. There's a few minor changes, but there's nothing drastic in terms of those. And as I said, we are in the process of developing more AI bots. So yeah, as I said, the existing bots will be level of data and things and that will be being able to access. And what we're currently developing at the moment, one is a Div 296 bot. So classic example is for funds. I'll take an example of the fund we we're just looking at. You have to sort of where, let's say they have balances now, or a member has a balance over 3 million. You have to project what the Div 296 tax will be over the next 5 years based on assumptions and the current interpreted legislation. Obviously, obviously it's going on the existing, I guess, proposed legislation. Until Parliament resumes at the end of July, we won't know if that legislation will change or not, or be implemented or in what format and things like that. So obviously there's a lot of media attention at the moment, but like everyone, we're just waiting to see what happens in terms of Parliament. We're looking at things like a work papers bot. So as you've kind of, clear example there, we'll show you for, let's say, talk about dividends. Obviously in the work paper screen, so I want you to go back to Simple Fund 360. Let's have a look at that. So if I go back to, for example, work papers, and we'll change back to 23, got a bit more data. So let's go into dividends. So classic example here is, we currently use our AI and OCR in terms of the documents to read information. So we can read information here from the actual statement. You can actually see, obviously, that the transactions, I should say, have been posted. But at the moment, it's still a manual check to actually say, hey, wait a minute, is all the data in these documents the same as what's in the transaction screen? Are there any tax components which are missing as well? So I guess with that one there, you're actually going through and actually what we'll have is the ability to check things in the documents against those in the ledger and give you basically almost like a pre-audit based on all the information which is there on screen. And we'll roll that out again progressively, depending on what's going through. So that's something where it's a work in progress, so we don't have exact dates for each of those. To mention too, obviously around the country throughout August, we are running our Reg Conference, which we've run for several years now. So we've got several speakers of actually both BGL and outside of BGL across the board there. So in terms of locations, so we're going across most of the major capital cities. And a good thing this year is we're going to include the Gold Coast as well in terms of demand. So get out to there. So on our website, you'll be able to see all the agenda. So this includes what's coming with BGL, what's taking place in the industry, how things are running in terms of business. So it's really designed across the board in terms of both users of our software, both partners of firms who may not be direct users of software, and obviously exploring other bits of technology. We have a lot of, if you can attend face-to-face, we have a lot of great sponsors that are there to, I guess, ready to show you as part of our ecosystem, how can they potentially go through and enhance. So go to our BJL website, which has got all the relevant information.